Man, I was just actually in Hawaii yesterday doing a long car drive with a friend, which is one of my favorite places for like
Yeah.
deep conversations. But he said something that he heard that was really inspiring to me. He said, when you protect your dharma protects you. And I really love that, man, because when you discover that those intrinsic qualities that are unique to you, that are really true to you, it's in some way I can't fully explain. It's like the universe protects you and bringing more of that into the world.
Absolutely. You're on the frequency of it.
Yeah.
And the universe is a mirror, so it's going to give you what you're putting out. If you're putting out low frequency, it's going to give you a lot of low frequency stuff. If you're putting out high frequency, it's going to give you back high frequency. It's just a mirror. It's a boomerang. So when you're throwing out those low vibrations, it comes right back. People go, man, I have a problem for every solution. That's because you're putting out conscious thoughts with problems and issues, and you're automatically assuming there's going to be something negative that's going to happen before the outcome even happens. I'm already thinking the end before the end. I'm going to win. I'm going to succeed. This is going to be great. It's going to be successful. This podcast is going to be amazing. It's going to go viral. My thoughts are totally different, and that's why I feel personally like a lot of my stuff goes viral. When I make a post on social media, I imagine transmitting my life force energy into the button when I tap it to upload it. So I'm sending energy into the device. So these are all the things that I'm doing. And then, I mean, it's no wonder why it's everywhere.
Quick one. Basically, every single day for the past 3 years, when I meditate in the morning, I do it in front of a red light device. Red light therapy has over 4,000 peer-reviewed studies, many of which show how it helps with cellular healing, skin health by stimulating collagen, testosterone, sleep, mood, and so much more. I personally can feel the benefits in real time, and I think it's a great way to get healthy light in the morning before sunrise, especially on cloudy days. Bond Charge is a great option for red light devices because they have the lowest EMF on the market and there's no flicker. They ship worldwide very quickly and they're easy with returns and exchanges. They also have an array of other science-backed products that you can check out. Go to bondcharge.com/know thyself. That's BONCHARGE.com/know thyself and use coupon code know thyself to save 15% off. Bond Charge products are all HSA, FSA eligible, giving you tax-free savings of up to 40%. I hope you enjoy. Back to the episode. Amazing, man. So let's start. What first inspired you to start exploring the ancient civilizations history? And in the human history, like what really sparked your interest in that first?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it goes back a long time ago. 1977. So you might not have been born yet.
Was not.
I know you weren't. I was 7 years old already. And I was in my backyard playing in the backyard, looking up at the sky, watching the airplanes from the local private airport go over, the Opelika airport. I saw an object in the sky that I couldn't understand. It didn't look like an airplane. No wings, no tail fin, no cockpit, no windows, just an orb that kind of glowed and moved across the sky in seconds instead of minutes like a normal plane. And then it came back and it came to an abrupt stop about 250 meters above me, completely silent, and then gone. So I ran in the house. I started screaming, "I'm like, Mom, you won't believe what I just saw," and everything else. And she was like, "There's advanced beings that were here in the ancient past." And I was like, and she told me, "You got to go to Machu Picchu one day," which is why I dedicated my first book to her. Well, the next day I went to the library in my school, Rainbow Park Elementary, and I asked the teacher to go to the library so I can get the Encyclopedia Britannica, the original Google, because we didn't have computers, cell phones, beepers didn't even exist yet. So I go get the encyclopedia. I start looking in aerospace technology because I'm trying to find what I saw in the sky. I never found it. I researched swept wing, delta wing, ballistics, intercontinental ballistics, everything you could think of, but I couldn't find it. Hovering platforms. And then that led me into aerospace tech. Aerospace tech led me to all different types of technologies. It became a passion of mine. And then one day, after having this weird experience, I ended up looking online and finding worldwidetelescope.org. And in there, I discovered that all the space probe data exists in this online platform. When I went in there, I started looking at Mars and Mars panoramas. Okay, then Spirit rover, Opportunity rover, McMurdo Valley. And now I'm inside the eyes of the mast cam on the rover, and I can zoom in, zoom out, pan left and right. And I start seeing anomalies that look like broken pieces of what I would consider to be technology, machinery. Some things look like structures that I know I've seen in ancient civilizations reading books on Earth. And I was like, what in the world is going on? That led me into making a hypothetical connection in my mind. could this be part of Earth? Could Earth have somehow, people from Earth have been on Mars? That's how it started. And from there, I started diving into ancient sites and traveling the world nonstop and making these connections and looking at anomalies. My team that I put together, it's called the United Family of Anomaly Hunters. A lot of our work has been on Fox News, CNN, all the mainstream, Huffington Post. Over 1 million downloads of these images from the space agencies and over 60,000 anomalies documented, things that shouldn't be there, and then being able to correlate them with things that we've seen here in terms of rundown structures, broken parts, even ancient buildings or ancient structures that are kind of weathered or flooded. And I said, man, and it has to be a link. And then that took me into ancient tablets. So I got into tablets and I started seeing the tablets were talking about people living on Mars. And I said, oh my God, this is the connection. And then from there, I just dove in, head first. I was going crazy. I mean, I must have devoured, I don't even know how many, well over 1,000, different tablets, inscriptions, papyruses, cylinder scrolls, ancient texts from all around the world. Then I started going to speak with indigenous tribes, wisdom keepers, sages. I just didn't stop, man. I just kept going 38 times now around the planet. And that's where I made the connection. That's how I got into ancient civilizations. Wow. By seeing something in the sky.
So we have these experiences in life that like really our pattern interrupts and push us beyond our current paradigm that we can't explain, that pull us towards, I feel like, what we're here to explore and share with the world. And that's so very much your case. I know you've had many experiences traveling the world. Is there any particular profound experience that sticks out that really solidified your desire to like make this your life's work?
Yeah. Well,
I know there's been many.
Yeah, there's been a few, but one was the outer world experience. It was really the one that the thing that triggered me into looking into Mars in the first place. So I will just tell you, but there was a situation where I was working on this huge project. And I bring this project up because I think the project is somehow linked to this experience. Why, I don't know, but I think it is. So I decided after studying the binary solar systems in the universe that binary is more common than a singular star. And our sun also, then now scientists have hypothesized based on its movements that we are in a binary solar system, that there is another star out there, a brown dwarf that you can't see with the naked eye. It's way, way out there, far beyond the orbit of Pluto, and it orbits our sun now. They discovered every 4,200 years. But at the time, I didn't know that. This is new science. Back then, I just knew that through the precession of the equinoxes, our sun was speeding up and then slowing down. And I said, what can make something speed up by 2,000 years? It must be breakaway speed. To catch that breakaway speed to go around and orbit something. And so I thought that was linked to a lot of ancient texts that I saw that talked about these cyclical catastrophes. And I thought that these catastrophes were linked to this additional gravitational field. So I decided to build this underground shelter system called Fort Terra Nova, which I did. It was on the History Channel in Countdown to Apocalypse years ago, back in 2013, I believe it was. And it can save the lives of 360 people underground. It's about the size of 3 Walmarts. It's not a small place. It's huge. It's powered by a turbine diesel engine. Unfortunately, I wish I could get something else, but I didn't have any other tech at the time. That's what this one is powered by. And it's dome structures underground, townhouse living underground. That I had left that particular project that day. I came home, sat down on the couch, and I was just watching ESPN. And all of a sudden, the room just turned this lavender color. The TV went boom and just shut off. And I thought my kids were playing a joke on me. So I looked over my left shoulder because the boys lived on this side, the girls lived on that side at the time. And nobody was there. And when I turned around, these two beings were in my face. The chair was maybe about the same height as this chair I'm sitting in now, so they couldn't have been more than 4.5 feet, maybe tall, because I'm about 6'4". And their eyes were like almonds, but not real. Almost like they looked plasticky or kind of artificial, like they were covers, not real eyes. And I was screaming, like I said before, no sound was coming out of my throat. But I did feel like my brain was shaking inside of my skull. I could feel this vibration and just shaking. Now, at that time, I was married. This is a while ago, my first wife. She was in the room behind the next wall. Kids, two boys in that room, 2 girls in the other room. Nobody heard or saw anything. This lasts for I'm estimating maybe a minute at the most, not that much time. And then they literally just turned around and they don't walk like a normal walking gait. They just kind of bounced or dangled, but they went through the wall. And then the lights came back on, the TV came back on, and I ran around the house and it scared the hell out of everybody. One of my sons is completely estranged from me still to this very day. He's afraid, he's horrified. He thinks that whatever that experience was, it's just gonna affect him in some kind of negative way. So we really don't even communicate anymore. This has been decades now. So it just, didn't have a good effect on my family, and I got divorced, not particularly just from that, but that was part of the straw, They couldn't understand all the things I was researching, and what I was into was like, my ex-wife's mom was telling me that I was worshiping the devil with all this. I was a devil. I'm like, what do you got? I'm just researching this stuff. It's interesting. So long story short, but that same night is when I heard the words worldwide telescope. It played in my mind like a broken record over and over and over and over, and it wouldn't stop thousands of times. So finally I said, I got to figure out what this is. This is after the experience. So I went to my computer. At that time, the Google wasn't famous yet. It was excite.com. So I typed in excite.com and I went to Worldwide Telescope. And the first search result is worldwidetelescope.org, which is still open today. You can still go there. You can still go in. Now, back then you had to download the software. Now it's HTML5. You don't have to download it, or you can download it depending on what you want to do. And then you can look at all the space probe data. You can go into the different Mars rovers, all the missions. You can go to the moon. You can go to different star systems within our known universe. It's all in there. Huygens probe data, it's all in there. And that's really what eventually led me to Mars, which led me to seeing sites that looked like they matched stones in Peru, which made me want to go to Peru after my mom told me that. She said advanced beings were in the tops of mountains in Peru in ancient times. This is in the 70s, she told me this. And I said, I got to go. And that started the whole journey into this ancient civilization thing. And that was one of the most memorable moments in my life that put me on this path and has kept me on this path. And in some ways, give me the energy to keep digging, to find the truths as to what happened to me and what else is out there.
All right.
I wasn't going to go all deep, but
no. I'm glad you did, man. I need to unpack this. Like, that's what you just said is wild. So you're sitting in your room with the TV on. Yeah. The room starts to turn lavendery, and then you turn your head from looking back, and then these beings appear, or you see them walk in.
They're there. No, I mean, I look back. Hey guys, stop that! And when I turn back, they're right here. Instantly.
And how far away from your face? Like
maybe 8 to 10 inches.
Whoa. Yeah. So like 2, and there were
2. Yeah.
Were they like gray?
They weren't gray like a gray. They're still kind of almost
like. It looked like a typical gray would look, like the gray alien?
They had the similarity between what you see in movies, almost like that. Almost. Not exactly like the typical one, but it's almost, whoever started making these things, somebody saw something because it was so close. Slight differences. A slit, though, for a mouth and little tiny holes for ears.
Had you seen movies or imagery or anything with beings that looked like that prior to that experience?
Well, just the typical gray aliens that you see from time to time. They weren't exactly like the ones we created. They have a slight few differences, but their skin, the skin that was looking like on their face, it looks, again, it's hard to explain. It's like almost like plasticky, like plastic or something, or some kind of artificial material. I don't know. Maybe that's some type of sleeve over there. I don't know. And then, but the body definitely had some type of a suit on, and the suit was slim body fit. You can see it because it had a little bit of an edge, right around the neck, that let me know that maybe that was the outfit that they were wearing. I can only assume that unless it's part of their body.
So, what do you think are the top couple explanations of what actually happened in that moment? Whether it was these like real beings that you perceived, was there some sort of possible like paralysis experience with your consciousness recreated something?
It's so open to speculation. I mean, it could be that I had a real, encounter of the fourth kind where these beings really showed up and engaged me in some way, shape, or form. They didn't speak to me in anything that I could understand, but they left me with that thing playing in my head, because that didn't start until they left. Or Maybe it could be some type of multidimensional interaction that happened with me, which is why nobody else can detect it but me. Maybe they got into a specific frequency within my mind. I know that the U.S. military has a device called the active denial system. It can broadcast words, sounds, even images into your mind, and you can see and experience. It can make you feel like you're on fire. It can make you feel like you're in pain. It's to deflect people coming to attack. It's this frequency beam that they send out. I talked about it in my book. And or maybe it's sometimes something just happening, maybe a level of psychosis. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have never taken psychedelics or anything, to be honest with you. I don't smoke marijuana. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just don't do that. I don't drink any alcohol or liquor. I drank 3 beers when I was 17, and that was it. And I never liked it because I got sick for 3 days. So I said, I'm done with that. So I don't know what else it could have been. You know, I drink water and coffee and tea. So I don't know. It could have been, but it could be anything.
Yeah.
But whatever it was, regardless of where it came from or how real or unreal it may have been in this dimension, it drove me to those sites, and those sites led me to ancient civilizations, and that put me on a whole nother, I took an exit off the highway and went somewhere else.
Yeah. I could only imagine the amount of like fear and confusion is also as your old life starts to crumble as this new one's being birthed.
It was tough. You talked about it,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough. The whole breaking down the rebirth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you make it through that?
It's tough. It's tough to keep talking about it, But yeah, it was, when you lose your family,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to lose your family, because it's like if you have a pod of dolphins and you take one dolphin away from the pod, people don't understand this, or killer whales, you take one dolphin away, even just one, the whole pod suffers forever. And it's trauma.
Man.
That's why I try to go around that one.
Yeah. No,
tough.
but that's real. It to me just brings forth so much sincerity and genuineness to your story, because why would you want to manufacture any of this? Like when there's so much pain there, right?
I know. Yeah. It's like going and doing shadow work, and I still have to work on this because it's really in there, and it creates triggers and everything else. It's an ongoing process trying to work this out, and being able to just get to the point maybe where I can talk about it without having an emotional outburst is just so tough, bro. It's just really, when you love your kids, and when one doesn't even want to text you or see you or anything else, it's kind of like, man, wow, and so it's something that like it had so many blessings with it, but at the same time, it's a blessing and a curse in some ways because, like you said, it's the breaking down of one reality and the rebuilding of a whole nother reality that I'm in now, and I just wish I can get them to see from my perspective, my eyes, to just take a look at some of the research. But, the majority of them, not all of my kids, but, 2 of them work for me. So that's nice. But, just a few of them, they just don't see, and I'm not going to force anything on anybody.
Right.
That's just not my method, my style. I never put my own thing on anybody because I don't want to be the one that becomes the dogmatic ideologic person that's forcing something down your throat. Everyone took their own path, and and they're still on their own path, and that's what I believe is the best for everyone, because there's 101 ways to enlightenment.
I just feel how your path is unfolding now, and as difficult as it was, I'm like, do you feel like you would change anything because of where it's led you?
There's a certain amount of I believe that this is my destined path. There's just, I'm so passionate about it. It does hurt, I realize, but every individual person is on their own journey. So when I had to look at it from that method, it allowed me to take a little bit of a step back and realize it really ain't about me. It's about, the mission here. I could still love everyone. I can still love them. I can still reach out to them. I can still try to support them in any way I possibly can, even if it's just consciously. But at the same time, I feel like my true mission was revealed, and it's to bring this information to the world, not just about ancient civilizations, but also about every aspect of reality, which is why I talk on so many topics, is because I believe that there's so many areas of consciousness. If we only focus on one small area, the other areas are going to lack. So I like to sprinkle a little bit around to all the different aspects of reality and consciousness, not just this. But ancient civilizations is such a huge part of helping humanity because the past is prologue. And that means that the past is destined to become the future unless you understand it. So when you can understand the past, it's almost like a kid. If a kid puts his finger in an electric outlet and gets shocked and survives, he's probably not going to do that again. We have to go to the past and see, where did we put our finger in the electric outlet? When did we get shocked? And how can we realize how to not do that again? And little by little, realizing what our faults were in the past, all these ancient wars and things that may have happened, ways that we treated each other, ways that we fallen for divide and conquer tactics. How can we improve ourselves based on what happened before, creating new economic systems, new belief systems, and everything else? That's going to guide us in the right direction towards a golden age, and that has to happen.
Amazing. So first off, just again, thank you for your vulnerability in sharing. I know it's difficult to relive that stuff emotionally, and it did lead you down this path to exploring all these ancient creation stories and tablets. That it's what's really interesting to me is when civilizations and tribes from completely remote places that have no way to communicate to each other arrive at creating similar pyramids, structures, patterns, stories, and in ways they wouldn't be able to, again, communicate. And so let's start with the Emerald Tablets, because I would love for you to reflect on Hermes Trismegistus, who this individual was. What is the legitimacy of the Emerald Tablets and what they say about the creation story?
Yeah, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, there's actually two. So one is called the Emerald Tablets, plural, and the second one is called the Emerald Tablet, or the Tablet of Hermes. Now, both of these writings are actually real writings that really did exist. And one of them is located in the Cambridge Library right now.
No one has access to it?
Yeah, people have access to that.
Really?
One. Yeah, you can get access to that one, yeah.
And so were they in the form of like clay writings?
Well, they're in the form of these stone tablets etched into stone.
Okay.
And there's the one that's in the Cambridge, it was translated by a few famous people, Sir Isaac Newton, Roger Bacon, the Queen of Sheba, believe it or not. And the other one was also had run through many, many different authors and linguists over time. The Emerald Tablets, plural, have ended up in the hands of the Roman Catholic Church or in the Vatican in the archive. Yeah, I know.
Man, what's down there?
Oh, there's a lot down there. I saw this documentary about maybe 10, 15 years ago. They even have bones down there. That's crazy, like bones of what doesn't look like a normal hominid. So they got a lot of stuff going on in that archive, and a lot of books, and I think a lot of the books even from the burning of the Library of Alexandria, which I believe was a hoax. Not that it didn't happen, but the burning was a distraction because it was the largest knowledge heist in history. That's what the burning of Alexandria was, a knowledge heist. Stolen information, which ended up, most of it, in the Vatican archives.
So you think simultaneously while that burning